Good morning, everyone.
It's not recorded yet. I started it slow, sorry.
Well, you don't need to get in your hair.
Okay.
I can't do it.
Well, good morning, everyone. I would like to declare the September meeting of the Whangamatā Community Board open and welcome all those online. And under COVID, we can't have any public here, but unfortunately, hopefully there are public who have managed to come in online. So I will now call for apologies. There are no apologies. Everyone is in person or online. So are there any items not on the agenda? No, looks like there are. Conflicts of interest. Anyone got any conflicts?
I don't know what's on.
I just want to.
I can't get in.
The pool committee, you could do the conflict once before for the pool committee?
Yeah, well, I don't know. I'm the liaison.
So if you're a liaison person, that's not a conflict. No. Okay, and the public forum. Do we have anyone in the public forum?
No one that's registered for public forum.
Okay, so we move now to item 1.5 minutes for confirmation. And moved by Terry, seconded by Dave. Do we have any discussion? If not, I move the minutes of the 10th of August be confirmed. All those in favour?
Aye.
Against? Carried. Now we're going to item 2.1, the community grants. So way I'd like to deal with this item, it was great to see so many applications, 39. Unfortunately, the amounts requested were more than double the amounts available, so we're not going to be able to meet the aspirations of all the clubs, unfortunately. So what I'd like to do to make some progress is work through them one by one. I will make an initial suggestion. If anyone wants to alter that up or down, let me know and we can have a discussion and then see where that lands. Otherwise, we'll continue through to the items to discuss. So, first one, Matariki Festival. I'm suggesting $1,400. People generally happy with that?
Yeah.
Okay. Pickleball, $1,200.
Yes.
Okay. The Ratepayers Association, $1,200.
Yes.
Okay, the patch and quilt, $750, I suggest.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Okay, the Scout Group, $1,000. The Summer Festival, $2,000.
Yes.
People happy?
Yeah.
Sorry, was that 2,000?
$2,000. The Lions Club for the Christmas Parade, $750.
Yes.
The stainless steel frame for Humphrey, which I understand has already been paid for. This is to reimburse the association, $1,295.
Yes.
And then Enterprise Whangamatā for their accounting and website maintenance, $2,343.
Yes.
The Ramblers looking for a PLB, $470.
Yes.
Croquet Club for lawn maintenance, $1,600.
Yes.
Okay. Next one I'd like to suggest for the Croquet Club for the toilets, $1,600. And Anzac Day, $1,600 for the RSA. This one's the RSA, the Children's Halloween, suggesting we don't give them a grant this year.
I would like to review this one at the end.
Okay, well, what would you like to suggest, Tamsin?
$1,000.
I support that.
Okay, how do others feel? My personal view is Halloween's at the end of October. With COVID, how likely is it it's going to take place?
I think that will be in level 1 by then, and I think the kids will be in desperate need of the celebration.
Fair enough. Gary?
Okay, so Gary, Tamsin and Terry are thinking 1,000.
It doesn't worry me, I'm glad.
Kay's supporting that. Sounds like there's support for $1,000 for the Halloween, okay? Arts Collective flags, $1,000.
Yeah.
Arts Collective website maintenance. Normally we've been giving these the full amount, but I think when we talked originally we said 2,500.
Yeah.
So we'll put it to the maximum of 2.5. The other point to make with these accounting and website assistants that this is a one-off. Just because they get it this year, they shouldn't expect to come back every year to get assistance. So hopefully we'll see some new clubs coming in next year to.
I think the review, the trial of this, will get some feedback at the end of this year.
And just see how effective it was, yeah. So hopefully it assists these clubs to get their admin up to scratch. The next one is for the humane traps. Was going to suggest 1,000. I'd like to actually increase that now to say $1,500. I think
We did say 15.
$1,500. Okay, people happy with $1,500?
Yeah.
Yes.
Humane traps. Okay. So that's next one is the multi-sport, suggesting 7,500.
I would like this increased.
Yeah.
Sorry,
I'd
Terry.
Pay up to 10K.
Agree.
How do others feel?
I think this is one of our key projects like the pool, and I'd like to see this supported as much as we can. Anyway, see what the feel is.
I'm in support of it being as high as possible, and if we increase it to 10K, it still allows enough for the rest of the grants on the list.
Okay.
Less than half.
Doesn't hurt that, I mean.
What are your thoughts, Gary?
Yep. I'm okay.
I think it's a great cause, it's just whether the money.
No,
Go any higher.
well, they are getting a $10,000 SLA, so this is taking it to 20. There's a lot of groups that are looking for assistance, so yeah, well, if that's the majority view, we'll put down 10.
Okay.
And we'll revisit it if we run out of money at the end.
Yeah.
The community pool for the computer, 1471.
Yeah.
Community pool accounting website, 2,500.
Yes.
The bowling club, 1,500 for FPOS, etc.
Yes. Yeah.
The toy library, 500.
Yeah.
Okay, so road safety education, I'm suggesting we don't make any grant for that.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, I agree.
I would like to fund this project.
Okay,
We funded it.
what did the staff say on this one?
Safety does not meet the criteria as they are not a local organisation, but is of local benefit to students of the Whangamatā area school. So they are providing a service for the local students.
Is it an
I think
education?
I think you'll find if we are able to support it, we'll still have enough left for our previous applications.
Well, we'll wait to see. Yeah, okay,
So you want to review it at the end?
well, I'll put it 1250 question mark and just see how that lays up.
1250?
Yeah.
Well,
Or
750.
750?
I'd like to see 1250, but just don't put a question mark because then it won't add up.
Well, 750 has been suggested. Well, how do you feel, Dave?
New Zealand Transport put a lot of money into this, so, through road safety and that, so I think they get a lot of funding from alternative means.
Well,
I think schools can always do with more funding.
Sorry?
Yeah.
I think schools can always do with more funding.
Well, I'm happy with 750. Is that the majority feeling?
Yeah.
I think we'll look at the end of it.
Well, put 750 in now.
750 in now.
Yeah. Okay, the carols, $1,500.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Happy for the higher amount.
Gary said, like,
What'd you say, Gary?
I did the higher amount suggested by Tamsin.
You're breaking up, mate.
For the carols,
I said I'd be for the higher amount suggested by Tamsin.
which one for the carols or the road safety?
The road safety.
Okay, so I think there's 4 saying 750 and 2 saying 1250.
So let's do 1,000.
We'll keep working through and we'll see where we've ended up. Now we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 from Aura. I'm suggesting that we fund fully number 26, number 27, number 28, and number 30. We give them $700 towards the market day, number 29, and we don't bother funding the information desk at the event.
Yep.
Okay,
I agree to
so
that.
can we just go through this separately? So
Okay, first one is 0,
Yep.
then 210, then 360, then 805, then 700, and then 500.
Yeah.
No, 700, and then 500. Now, the next one is the Ocean Art and Wellness Festival down for February. It's quite a major ticket item, this one, the total cost of the project, and I'm not sure how they're getting on with the rest of the funding, but yeah, I'd be happy to put forward 1,000.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
The next one is the mentor program, 1,000 once again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The Whangarama, 2,500.
Yeah, this is the out of town trip, isn't it?
Yeah, to the Bay of Islands.
Yeah.
The bottles for the resource centre, 392.
Yeah.
They can find the 73 cents.
Yeah.
The keeping the men sheds heads safe, 1,750.
Yeah, look out for the heads.
The harbour care, 6,000.
This is for the trapping and things like that.
Yeah, pest control.
Which is, it's really top line, amazing stuff.
Yeah.
The surf club first aid, 500 certificates. The pest control Ōpoutere, 964.
Yeah.
And their dogs, 700.
Yeah.
Okay, what is that other side?
So you've got 1,190 left
Is that the $700 for
for the road safety.
you might be able to.
Make that 1,000.
Make that to 1,000.
Maybe to 1,000.
Okay.
Okay, so that leaves you now with 300,
800 or something.
900.
940. 940.
We got no
Is
no
that
emergency number.
a vineyard trip for the board?
And we could go back to the Halloween event. Just a quick question with events such as Amplify, do they need to provide some sort of cost plan to, so we have the assurance that they're able to receive the rest of the funding?
Sorry, I didn't hear.
Say it again, Tamsin, just so I can hear.
Well, we just raised a point that there is it's a substantial cost for the event, and we're only providing them $1,000. How do we have the assurance that they're still able to fund the shortfall of this?
Well, if they don't fund it.
This is the
they
Halloween
have to-
event?
No,
No,
just give it back at the end.
Amplify the Ocean Arts and
Oh, the
Wellness
Ocean Arts
Festival. The 118,000 is their total budget, so I'm not sure how much of their funding is in place. Is that the question, Tamsin, and what will happen if, yeah?
So if the board give them money for a specific purpose, which is the running of the event or the marquee hire,
Maybe high.
they have to show that they have spent that money on the marquee hire. If the event doesn't go ahead, they haven't spent the money on the marquee hire, they either come back to the report board and request that the funds are retained for next year, or they have to repay the funds to the board.
Okay, I'll listen to Kirsten and then comment.
Okay.
Kirsten?
I just see the hand up.
She's got her hand up.
Hi there, sorry. I just wanted to make you aware that they had received funding from the Regional Events Fund, but I'm just trying to find out exactly how much they have received. So it is quite a significant amount.
It would probably be good to have that information prior to us approving additional funding.
Yeah.
It said that they have applied
I'll remute.
But we don't worry about it for anyone else.
Well, it's a big event though.
Yeah, but that's their problem, isn't it?
Well, I go to
Well, no, because we don't want it being burnt. Say they're putting it for the deposit of the marquee and then the event doesn't go ahead, they've still spent the money on the marquee, haven't they? And then we've just wasted $1,000.
No, it doesn't work like that.
So
How does it not work like that?
Should have known if they got some funding out of it.
If the event doesn't go ahead.
No, this money is for the marquee. So if they put a deposit on the marquee, they could still provide evidence that the money has gone towards the marquee. And then they may decide within a month to of the event that they can't proceed. Like that does happen with events. So I just want the guarantee that they have other funds so that the event does go ahead.
Well, we're going to have to do that for all the others too. The Pony Mana, all of their market days.
Nothing else is 118,000.
So Kirsten, the fund that you're talking about that they made a grant, they received a grant from, who funds that grant?
That's an MB fund that was given to all regional tourism operators to encourage more bums on seats, really. So really to encourage people to come to events in our region. And they were successful. I'm sorry, I don't have this information to hand, but I'm just trying to find it while I'm here.
So at this stage, Kirsten, you're thinking that their funding for the total event looks like it might be on track?
Yes, it is looking like it's on track. And I guess because the regional event fund isn't a council fund per se, then they're not double dipping. I guess, I mean, it's up to you how you look at it.
Okay, well, I'll take the punt on the 1,000.
I'm quite happy giving them 1,000.
Yeah.
Okay. So you've still got $940 left.
Okay, so who did we knock back a wee bit?
I would like to see increased costs for the Whangamatā.
Any other candidates for increase of the 900?
The pickleball.
No, I'll go for Whangamatā over the pickleball.
I know you will. Typical.
Just quickly going through these quickly again.
Who did we chop that?
Just in relation to pickleball, I don't know if you saw the article, Kay, about Thames pickleball that was on the, did you see that? It was online, and they charge $5 per person to it.
Yeah, well, I think she's going to increase that.
Yeah.
She's going to have.
So I think they could help themselves by doing that.
Well, I think she's going to.
Can I ask, Eileen, how much did we give the Whangamatā Community Church for the carols in the park at Lindsay Park?
1,000.
So they've asked for 3,800. I'd like to see them increased. What do you think about that, guys?
I disagree.
Good community event.
Another 500.
And give the 900 if you want to.
I think when we review the demographic of the funding allocation, that it would make sense to increase the funding for the Whangamatā event.
What was that, sorry?
Thames is still asking for the funding to be increased for the Whangamatā.
I support the community. I think they're travelling out of town to meet Thames, which is fine, representing the community, that's great. But I would support the community event in the park more so. It's my opinion.
Well, how about we've got 940, why don't we put 500 on one and 440 on the other?
I'd rather give it to the community, I think.
So what does that make the community church number?
Or you make that 2,000
2,000, okay.
and put the 440 onto the Whangarama.
You happy with that, Tamsin?
Yes.
It's 2948 for the Whangamatā, and that leaves you all spent.
Excellent.
2940, okay. Oh, well, it looks like most of them have got close to half of what they were asking. Some haven't, but yeah, when you've got more than double what you've got to allocate, unfortunately, we couldn't support them all fully. But anyway, I'd like to move those figures that we've talked through. Would someone like to second that? Second by Kate. All those in favour? Against carried. Thanks, team. Not an easy task.
Do you need to do a second one for the ones you've declined?
No, the fact that it's got near zero means that's taken as read, isn't it?
No, we have to move it, don't we?
Do we?
Is that right?
Well,
It's in the, one of
part
the,
three. So
part three of it.
Okay. Part three, that we decline those groups who have got a zero allocation. Is that what's the word?
Yeah, I'll second that.
Yeah. Second by Kay. All those in favour? Against carried. Right. The next one is the library. So we've got a report here and open it up for discussion.
All right, if we continue with the library.
So this is received the report, confirms the allocation.
Yep.
I'll move that in first instance. You second that?
Yep.
Okay.
I would just like to have a bit more of a discussion around the library. What's the expectation of them to upgrade the facilities and move towards a more innovative area and more attractive for all age groups? And well, at the moment, it's not particularly child friendly, I don't think. And
they have a great kids program every holidays.
Yes, but the book selection and how often the books are upgraded. Yeah, I've visited a few local libraries recently, and I think that there's definitely the potential to do a lot more there. I think I've requested a few times for the library report that they provide, and we haven't received that. So, yeah, if we could just explore it further, that would be good.
Eileen, do you have any comments?
No, I know in their funding agreement, they are to supply books. I mean, I can follow that up with them as to what the actual program is, and their library report. We did get a library report back earlier this year from them, but I will certainly bring all that up with the library committee.
And can you forward the report to the board for information?
Yep. I'll take it actually to the meeting tonight.
Okay.
I mean, thank you.
Also, do we?
Sorry, Tamsin.
Do we know if there will be any impact on our libraries from the New Zealand Libraries Partnership Fund?
Well, this is what they're trying to find out. At the last meeting, they're trying to find out what it's going to mean. So,
And
I mean, they're as much in the dark as everybody else.
So, okay.
Yeah, it's interesting to know that we run a very economic library, don't we? Based on the Coromandel libraries, you go around, Thames and Whitianga, 10 times more expensive to run than ours. So we do run it on a very, close budget. So I hear what you're saying, Thames. Is there opportunities to expand? Maybe it's discussion, but at the moment they're quite happy where they are, and they do a lot about book exchange. And I think if you see the book exchange that goes on, they're really up there in the numbers that they exchange with other libraries. So they are keeping it quite current.
They've had a lot of trouble getting books these last couple of years.
But I hear what you're saying, that there we are.
I will take your concerns to them tonight because the meeting's at 4 o'clock. So I will take your concerns to them that you don't think it.
I'm happy to send you through some photos of the Ruapehu District Council's library and their kids section. I don't think it's necessarily a cost thing. I think it's just some rearrangement would be good. And also, I was just wondering, are we able to engage in some sort of community feedback process? I think something was done a couple of years ago for Mercury Bay and Tairua-Pauanui for their libraries, and just to get some community feedback and engagement. And I think that would help guide the direction of the library better.
All I know is when they tried to close the library, there was a huge...
I'm absolutely not suggesting closing the library. I just think that we could make some improvements.
Well, I
think Kay said in Kay said she'll take those.
I'll take your concerns.
Yeah, Lorna can speak to this because it was part of the long-term plan discussion.
Great.
You're on mute,
Good
Lorna.
morning. I've just unmuted myself. Good morning. Sorry, I was just on a phone conference, so I've just joined in now. What were you wanting me to answer?
Tamsin can ask the question. Is around about support for the Whangamatā Library. Should it be expanded or growth, and what's the kind of support for the library around the area?
So, and are you talking in terms of promotion of the library and its service?
Yes, community feedback, intentions for innovation. What's the plan basically to upspec it a bit?
So that would be, it's actually Derek Thompson through Parks and Reserves who is in charge of the library. So I'll have to get back to you on that, Tamsin. But if you're talking about in terms of promotion, we do work with the Whangamatā Library about promoting its services and what it does through our comms channels. But if you're looking at what the aspirations are for any changes to its service, that's something that we'll have to talk to Derek about.
Lorna, can I just ask, when we did a survey of the libraries for the long-term plan, Whangamatā was included in that survey?
What survey are you referencing there, Terry?
The one that we went out to see if the libraries were viable for Mercury Bay was talking about cutting the library service, and you went out and consulted with all the library people and got the numbers of people interested in keeping the library?
In 2017, Terry?
Yeah, that was a few years ago, Terry. That wasn't last year.
And that didn't include Whangamatā.
But did that include Whangamatā?
No, it didn't. It only included Wisianga, Tairua and Pauanui.
Right, okay.
So that's my suggestion, is that we undertake a similar survey of the community for Whangamatā.
Lorna, was that because of the others are council libraries and we're a community library?
Yes, that's right. And so there's a service level agreement with the Whangamatā Library, and there's a similar one, I think. Yeah, just with Whangamatā actually. I see Bruce Hinson, I think, has got his hands up, and Bruce is it's his area of responsibility. Bruce, did you want to say something?
Hi, good morning, board. Yes, I just wanted to jump in and just make a correction. Obviously, Derek Thompson has community facilities and does look after the libraries, but obviously, as Lorna's just mentioned, this is a community library, so it doesn't fall under Derek's remit. And I think you've adequately covered off the point that the consultation that was done, 4 years ago, was just around the council's libraries, and so there were some questions around library services, value for money, how much libraries were costing per ratepayer, and so that's what that process was all about, and that was run out of the governance and strategy team at that time.
So what were the council libraries running at?
What was that question again? Sorry, Kay, I missed the first bit of that.
What was the cost of the council libraries for their operational services?
Oh, you've got me on the hop now. Yeah, I don't know those numbers off the top of my head from that survey or from that work that was done 4 years ago, Kay, but it's something, if that's something you're interested in looking at, we can investigate that. Obviously, they're quite a different animal to a community run library. So that they are quite different.
Yeah, no, we're starting to digress a bit, so we've just come back to the report. So we've had suggestion from Tamsin, which Kay's picking up on, going back to the meeting tonight. So I'd just like to, we've had the moved and seconded, I'd like to now put the resolution. All those in favour? Aye. Against? Carried. Thank you. So the next one is the Community Liaison Representative for the 101 Lindsay Road Working Group. So we need to decide whether we have a representative for the remainder of the current term, and I'm fully supportive we do. And I'd like to nominate Dave Ryan and seconded by Kay as our rep on that group. So if those resolutions can be amended accordingly, and if there's no other nominations or discussion, I'll put that. All those in favour? Aye. Against? Carried. Well done, Dave. You're now on the group.
Thank you.
Officially.
Right, so the next one we have is a request from the Community Patrol for discretionary funds totalling $15.09 for a GPS and a calendar app. Sort of thing we normally would have considered under the community grants, but I believe for health issues it didn't get in on time. So we have the ability to either approve this or not. So
I'd like to approve.
It's been moved by Kay, seconded by.
I'll second that.
Seconded by Tamsin. Any further discussion?
Just give me the total amount.
1509.
Okay, 1509.
Yeah. Okay, all those in favour?
Aye.
Against? Carried. Next one, we move to the Surf Club, and they're looking for a 25% contribution towards upgrading the boardwalk in front of the clubs that leads down to the beach. Apparently it is splintering and breaking up, and they need to spend $20,000 repairing that. I've been down and seen it, and it is starting to break up, and so I would like to move item 1 and item 2 that we approved 5,000. Sorry, do you want to second that, Gary?
Yes, I do.
Okay, moved by Dave, seconded by Gary. Any further discussion? No. If not, I'll put that. All those in favour?
Aye.
Against? Carried. Right, now on to the swimming pool. So we've got a number of recommendations here. I'll open it for discussion.
Yeah, through the chair, if I may. Yeah, I support a funding option here, and I've got my option I'll talk about. This is one of our key projects in Whangamatā. We're supporting it to upgrade the pool. Pools are quite expensive things to run and operate, but we haven't seen an increase in operations for many years. And with this increase in funding to extend the pool from a partial opening to a full opening operation, I think we need to look at the OPEX side of it. So I support option 4 as it reads there, as a way to support the organisation at the swimming pool to manage their budgets in a financial prudent way.
Just a little point on option 4, there seems to be some stray zeros seem to have crept in there, so.
Some numbers, yes.
Yeah, the 49 and the 84 should drop a 0.
Yeah.
So you're recommending that option 4 be incorporated into the resolution?
Mm-hmm.
Is anyone
I'll
seconding
second
that?
that.
Oh, we'll get that.
Okay.
We'll second it.
It's seconded by those on the screen. Should take your choice there, Esther. And any further discussion? No. If not, I'll put that. All those in favour?
Aye.
Against? Carried. So, good project. Now it's got to go into the annual plan, so staff will make sure that goes forward as a input into the annual plan. Next one is the request for funding for ocean art events, which are very soon. They're talking about one at the end of September in Tairua and Whangamatā, October, November. Well, I can't imagine the Tairua one's happening at the moment, and sort of,
It's just for marketing, that it.
yeah, it's for marketing, but
just-
with COVID restrictions, I think there'd be grave doubts as to whether that can happen, but yeah, I'm also, yeah, okay. Anyone want to add any further comments?
Yeah, I'd just like through the chair to say that I agree with your comments, Mr. Chair, and there is opportunities through the Creative Coromandel community funding option if they look at it, but I just think it's a little bit late to meet our criteria for this time around, and wish them well.
Yeah, I agree with it.
So do I.
So do you want to move?
I want to move that we
Decline under 2.
Under 2.
I second it.
Second by Dave. Okay, for that, all those in favour? Against? Carried. So we're declining their request. Next one, we go to the Ōpoutere Hall. So it looks, having read the report, it looks like there's quite a bit of community support for retaining it. But the secret, I think, is to get a very strong community group together to ensure that it is well managed into the future.
We've got George McCormick online, if you need to ask any questions.
What's he doing?
Hello, Georgia.
George is a
Hi, Georgia.
Question. Now, if they're going to form a new incorporated society, which I think is a good idea, is it worthwhile putting a time frame on that to force them to get their act together, rather than leaving it open-ended, say, to ensure it's done by the 31st of March and to report back to the board? Would that be unreasonable?
No, not unreasonable. They are fairly passionate about this subject, so I think it will go through fairly quick anyway, but they are going to need some support with Eileen and myself. So yeah, I'm not opposed to that at all, if you want to put a timeline on it.
Okay, so we can amend number 3 by adding by the 31st of March 2022. Now, in terms of the budget, there's 45,000 included in the report. Is that budget that's currently available?
Yes, it is. So that will be for the roof and ceiling repairs, which we will, depending on the resolution today, pretty much kickstart straight away.
We have heard other figures of 130,000 landing about to bring the hall up to standard. Is that correct, or am I wrong there?
Yeah, that is probably the golden goose. So that's the wish list of if we wanted to make it this brand new amazing facility, that's kind of what the total cost would be. The community there are very much on board with doing some work themselves, so it will decrease that amount. So that is not the cost to get it up to usable standard. It's just the ideal cost if we wanted to make it an amazing new facility.
So 45 would see the doors opened again?
Yes.
Okay.
Georgia, can I just ask 2 questions?
Dave and then Terry. Yep.
Sorry. First one is about the black mould. I think, as well as these things that are on the list here, which are important, definitely the black mould would have to be a top priority to get rid of it before they do any of this work here. And secondly, the fact of the isolation of the building, that a security system go in there, which can be activated to somebody's cell phone, that if there's a break or anything on the premises, that we would be aware of it, because there's nobody living in real close proximity to that place.
So on that, the black mould is actually on the roof, so that's what we'd be fixing as part of that budgeted amount. That's kind of what would be going. So that's where the most of the issue is. Yes, the facility itself would need a deep clean as well, but the mold is predominantly on the ceiling. And in regards to a security system, as far as I'm aware, they've never had any issues there with security. There is a property directly adjacent across the road, and also the school is obviously in fairly close proximity as well. But I guess that may be something that we can discuss down the line once we get these first issues resolved.
Well, in the report, it said that there was damage done to the toilets and kitchen area and that. So, I mean, and as far as the willful damage, most of that would occur at night and on weekends, as opposed to when the school hours would be open.
No, this was done inside the premises, I believe, by people who had the place booked. It wasn't actually done by anyone breaking in. It was a vanity within the bathroom, which one of the members were aware of, and they hadn't flagged it as it being damage that wasn't done by anyone else.
Can I ask when the quotes? Oh, sorry, Terry. I'll put my hand up.
Can't see it. Okay, I can see your hand. Okay, Terry.
Okay, yeah, so Georgia, I'm very concerned. I've had calls from residents out there regularly, and Ōpoutere has its own little community issues in terms of organising committees. The history tells that. So I'm really concerned that this structure of this committee is strong and it's going to stay together for the future of the building after spending 45 grand into it. So I would like to think that when you've got this committee organised, that Eileen has the rights to meet them, agree with them and understand what's going on, to come back to the board and tell us this is going to work and this is not going to work. Because we want to have confidence that this money is going to be spent. As Dave said, this building is isolated. It's 3 or 4K away from the community. It's only used when somebody decides to have a huli or party or something like that, and then there's a responsibility comes with it. I don't even know they pay a bond or anything like that for the building. So there are concerns, and especially around security, what you raised. So if you just take those on board, that'd be great.
No problem.
Tamsin.
My concerns are just around when the quotes were received. Obviously, the impact of the current lockdown, we're seeing escalation of a couple of % per month at the moment. And additionally, in the report, it said the black mould was on the ceiling, which I would think would be internal, and with a raked ceiling, replacing the plasterboard, I don't see that being achieved within $11,000.
So both the quotes were received from 2 local contractors here, one being a builder, one being a roofer. So the ceiling itself inside that building is, I'm not entirely sure the whole structure of it, but it is a full open ceiling. They probably need some bats and everything like that in there, which I believe was quoted in Mark's quote. Yes, it may have gone up slightly because material costs are probably risen due to COVID as well and getting materials in to the country, but I've kind of gone on their figures, so it should come in under around there. If not, we'll make it happen within our own budget anyway.
The other thing, Georgia, that came up on that was a representative from the community board to be involved with that committee, and I would like to put Tamsin's name forward as the person that deals with Ōpoutere, if she's agreeable to do that position.
So that would have to come back as a report to the next board, as Tamsin being the board liaison rep.
Can't get it in now.
No, because they haven't got a report done. It had to come to me.
Well, this is a report on the board, and it mentions liaison in there, so having read the report, can't we say we'd like to nominate Tamsin to be a liaison person?
If you do a completely separate resolution, I'll have that.
Well, we'll make it resolution 4 that Tamsin be the board's representative on the with the incorporated society.
Yep.
Yeah.
We can do that.
I'd move that.
Well, we'll move them all together. So
I think the key thing is that Eileen's happy with the society, and then Tamsin come on board.
Yeah.
Happy that it's going to work, and
yeah, well, until the incorporated society is set up, and Tamsin can't liaise with anyone.
Yeah.
So once we get the whole committee set up, we'll be going to the next step.
Yeah, and so so we've got items 1 and 2 as per the agenda paper. Item 3 has got the 31st of March 22, and item 4 is after the incorporation of the society, that Tamsin will be the board's representative or liaison person. Yeah. Okay, so does someone like to move those in total?
I move.
Dave, seconded by Terry. Yeah. All those in favour? Aye. Against? Aye. Now we go to the bus service report. So we've got Ed on the line, excellent. So we've got two options there. We've got $10,000 in the budget, and the question of whether we abandon it or we continue on the job. So Terry, you've obviously got something to say here.
Yeah, I would like to, if I can, to speak to this. This was raised yesterday at the Tairua Parliamentary meeting because they are part of this discussion, because without them this won't work, because it's a ward-based proposal. They have selected option 2 and asked us to formally engage with the Regional Council. As we've discussed in the past, this has been raised through the Regional Council. Our local representative Dennis Teague raised it. It has had some discussion. It's obviously driven by Regional Council, but Whangamatā are the funders, and there's no budget available at the moment. Obviously, we're trying to gauge interest at the moment, and I would like to support option 2 if the board's keen to move on this to continue the discussion and see if we've got the traction to move it to the next stage.
Seconded by Dave. Okay,
So can I just bring up that there's actually a typo in there? It should be actually saying inclusion of the 2022-23 annual plan.
Oh, yes, it's got a mistake in there.
Yeah.
Well done, Arlene.
So we need to fix that.
Okay, so subject to the date's been changed for the annual plan to 22-23, been moved by Terry, seconded by Dave. There's no further discussion. I'll put that. All those in favour? Aye. Against? Carried. Right, now on to the work programme. So we have the report here, and I'll put in order. I'll move the report be received and seconded by Kay, and now we'll just work through one by one. So just raise your hand when you come to an item you want to discuss. Terry.
Yes, I'd like to raise the first one, and this is the harbour cycle pedestrian access way. It's relevant because it's just over 10 years since we started the project, and that's normally quite a good time to complete it. I'm sorry to be a little bit like that. So in 2010 we drew the plans, got them costed up, all done. 2011 we put it into our plan for privatised Whangamatā estuary and upper harbour walkway. $8,000 was given to that. That was spent and nothing happened. Stopped. In 2016 was again raised and through the projects, and still no action. Sorry to do this, guys, but this is the history. 2018-19, we took Mr. Bruce Hinson and Mr. Rob Williams for a walk along it with the community groups, and they thought it was a great idea. There was some money put aside for stage 2, which is the stage from Brenton Road through to State Highway 25, but still nothing done. They were waiting for some rescoping. In 2019, we had Ross come on board, and he started the whole project again. Had $35,000 put into there, and that was to do with some discussion with Ngāti Pū. And stage 1 completed would be that year, and stage 2 would be completed the following year, but didn't quite happen. We're in 2021 now, and we've got $120,000 in there, and I think the program says that we are currently waiting for feedback from Doc and Iwi. So if we could get this done, we've done the 10 years, we've done our time, it'd be great to finish this project off and get it finished.
Yeah.
Okay.
Any comment?
No, I think I understand what you're saying, Terry, and I think you've given a good summary of the project. And sometimes projects like this do take a long time, but I totally understand the board's desire and the community's desire to get this project over the line. Obviously, we've had a few changes in the project management team, so we'll be looking to push this one forwards. As we were, you can see Andrew Bowden is on this one. He's a good project manager, good at getting things over the line, and yeah, we just keep on pushing with this one, Terry.
I understood, Bruce, that all the feedback from Iwi and Doc had been completed. Ross assured us that it was all done, but it says here it's still waiting.
Yeah, I don't have that detail. Sorry, apologies, Terry. And I can't off the top of my head recall the comments Ross might have made on that. So, but all I know from this one is that those are the comments that Andrew's provided. And as I mentioned, we've had a bit of a change over there. Obviously, Ross has moved on from the organisation. So, so Andrew's picked this one up, and like I say, we're just going to be driving it forwards as quickly as we can, with the constraints that we have on us as council and the processes we need to follow for these types of projects.
Thank you.
The next one I'd like to raise is the CCTV cameras, specifically for Williamson Park. I went on the radio the other day and I told the community they're going to be up and running by New Year's Eve, so you better not let me down here, Bruce. But so I see we're still waiting for permission from the Surf Club for fibre connection. So has that been obtained yet, or how hard is that to get?
I haven't had an update on whether we have obtained that, Ken, but I've spoken with Andrew Bowden this morning, and yeah, the plan for the CCTV is to have it all done prior to Christmas. So we're working as hard as we can to make sure we don't let you down with the commitment that you've made on the radio there, Ken.
Thank you. I'll be bringing you up if it hasn't happened. Okay, the next one I've got is the boardwalk extension. So you were going to escalate this with Doc at our last meeting. So how did you get on there?
I'd like to say we had a win, but we haven't had a win yet, sorry. So we have escalated it, and we're still struggling to get anything out. They've gone through a number of staff changes again within Doc, and they've got a number of things on the go, and yeah, it's incredibly frustrating. I know that that you guys are even more frustrated than what I am probably, but it's, yeah, I don't have a good answer for you. I'm not quite sure what else we can do with this one, apart from just keep the pressure on and just escalate higher and higher if we can.
Well, I think that might be needed. Go as high as you can. I suggested the minister last time. You felt that was a bit high, but it may be where we have to end up.
Yeah, I don't know if the minister would listen to me, but yeah, I'll take it on board and see if I can find someone the minister would listen to.
Okay, so anyone got anything else on that page, the first page?
I can't see the page because I never got my hard copy, but just to ask the question, Bruce, is something going to be done about that safety aspect of Williamson Park prior to Christmas?
Yes, yeah, so we're going out to tender this month on that. So they've done the design, they worked through the options, they've done the design, and yeah, tender this month, Gary.
Can we have a look at the design? Could you send a copy to the board?
Yep, I'll make a note and get that through.
Thank you.
Okay, so moving on to the next page. So,
Well, is the Island View car park on the first page or the
second
second page? That's right.
Okay. So, did you have a question on Island View car park?
Yes, I did. I was going to, they were going to send us the construction costs, the 2008. $208,000 it's going to cost. They were going to break it down and let us know what it was.
Yeah, I don't recall that, apologies, but I believe that you guys are having a site visit. Is that today?
That's today. Yeah. I have the answer.
So yeah, hopefully the answers can be provided at that site visit today.
Cool.
So, and just following up that, Steve Bremner, I spoke with him the other day, and he's one of the design options that they've got is to do it in Gobi blocks, which is going to be a lot cheaper and less of an impact, but that will come back through to the board.
Okay, thanks.
Okay.
So Gary has just said that he has to leave the meeting in 10 minutes, just to let you know.
Okay, thanks, Gary. Well, we're getting close to it. So we'll talk about the Kerb and Footpath under their own items.
Yeah. I've just got a statement. If we get an OPEX or next or not tips.
Is there anything else on CapEx before we go this?
So here's a comment, guys, and I just hope it's meant in the right way. I've been here on the board for about 7 years, 8 years, and I think our relationship with DOC, iwi and WRC over this way is non-existent. We've only ever had one visit from Doc in the whole time I've been here. WRC have been down a couple of times to talk about the mangroves, but never to the community board. Why is our relationship so poor? When I talk to the other groups, especially in Whirianga, we keep a regular meeting with those groups. They are people we have to give effect to in a lot of the things we do, and we always struggle when it comes to negotiating with these people because there's no relationship. Can staff build that relationship, please, so we get to these situations? There seems to be a bit more of a controlled action through it rather than just a wait and see for months and months and months and still no action.
So I guess through the chair, my response to that too would be that my team do work with the community groups when they need to, and iwi. I hear what you're saying. I know up in Mercury Bay, elected members and area staff do meet regularly with some of these groups. So whether there's something that that could possibly be undertaken similar in the Whangamata area, I know Eileen does her best to work around the different community groups. So whether it is something that, you know, from an elected member perspective, meeting with these different groups on a regular basis might help create that relationship. And again, apologies if that's something you've already tried to do. But yeah, I think I don't disagree with what you're saying, Terry, at all. We need, everything's built on relationships, so we need to have those strong local relationships.
Yeah, well, I agree. In the past, Doc, we've never agreed to give up money, but they weren't too unhappy about doing things. Now they're becoming very resistant to change or getting involved. We've got a local art group that's putting on an event down in Wakeworth Valley Road in a private event. So to park across the road in the Dock car park, they're going to pay $240 for the day. So obviously there's a whole change in the dynamics, and we're not at the forefront of this. We're not got the relationships that we can talk to these people, and we need to build that relationship somehow.
Yeah, no, I don't disagree. And again, I wouldn't like to speculate on what's going on with inside another agency. But yeah, I hear what you're saying. Things are definitely challenging. And like I say, there've been quite a number of staff changes that I'm aware of within DOC, and whether that's just creating a bit of a challenge for them to deal with different groups, you know, such as council and community board in the way they used to. Not sure, sorry. But I don't disagree.
I think that anything can be done to improve the relationships would be most welcome. So yeah, we'll leave it with you, Bruce. Thank you. Now coming to the OPEX, I notice we don't have any report on the investigations into the road, the trail out to the mountain bike park and the bridge extension that we've talked with Ed on, but it's not a report. So just wondering how that's going. Is it there?
Influence here. There is.
Yes, if I may, through the chair. My apologies for that. It's been one of those situations where it's on the list of things to do, but has no movement on it at the moment. That's primarily because immediately after we got to the okay to move on that, we did go into lockdown, and since then it's been a little bit hectic, shall we say. It is my intention to meet on site with the people involved as requested, and try and get this moving as soon as possible.
Okay, no, thank you. We wanted to make sure that we keep our foot down on that one because time starts drifting on. Anything else, Terry?
I'd just like to raise, if I can, the last item on that topic, the Wana harbour cleanup. I'm just wondering how many noughts are missing, and there should be a couple of twos in there or something like that. There's 000 on that, where it should be $20,000, and it's put aside to work with WRC on cleaning up that side of the Moana. Can somebody explain why that money's disappeared?
I can't explain it. As far as I'm aware, there was no budget this year for it, but I will follow that up with the community facilities team because that's where the budget would have been sitting.
There was 20 grand in the budget.
Under what?
Came in through the long-term plan.
Yeah, I'll follow that up.
Okay, I'll follow that up. Okay, thank you. Okay, if there's no other items on that report, I will now move that, seconded by.
I just had my hand up. Just a
Oh, sorry.
comment generally. It would have been good if we had the August report rather than to the 31st of July, because obviously if that's the year-to-date actual and we're sitting at the end of September, nervous that we are green for all of those projects with the total value of spending. Additionally, I would have expected to see the impacts of COVID captured within this. It makes me lose faith in the colouring system if nothing has been revised since the program was set.
That's a good point, Tamsin. Yes, it would have been better if it had been the end of August. Any reason why we cut it off at July, Eileen?
So I can answer that one. That's not with Eileen. So the reason it's cut off at the end of July is that these reports are required 2.5 weeks before the meeting, and obviously if they're required at that date, we don't have the figures for August, and that's why it just depends how the meeting's scheduled. With the 6 weekly meeting schedule, sometimes it gets a little bit stuffed up like this, and so we just don't have those figures available at the time when the report has to be written. But you know, I totally understand the frustration. It is challenging working in the environment that we work in and with the deadlines that we need to work to. So, yeah, I anticipate that there'll be some changes definitely next time we see the report. And it does make it hard with having the 6 weekly cycles that you guys, we know there's going to be impacts, but those haven't been reflected until we actually get all the figures through and we get to the next reporting time frame.
I just think generally we have probably not had a lot of faith in the colour coding system, so if it could be updated to capture actuals for the next report, that would be good.
Yep, no, definitely will be updated for actuals, and the colour coding. I don't think there's been too much of an issue with the colour coding. We had some issues last year, and if we look back at some of the later reports, there was a lot of orange and quite a bit of red in there, and we managed to achieve quite a lot. There are a few, obviously, that we didn't get over the line for last financial year. So, yeah, I guess all I can do is reassure you that I do take a good hard look at this, and I'm pretty critical of the team and make sure I challenge the right. I don't believe we're being honest.
Can I just ask you, this is to Kirsten, if she's online. I see she's still there. Is the opening of the water treatment station planned for the end of the month still on?
Hi, yes, it's next Tuesday. You'll receive an email today just with the updated schedule of the morning.
Thank you.
Okay. Well, I'll put the recommendation there, moved by myself, seconded by Terry. All those in favour?
Aye.
Against? Carried. Okay, now the next two items, Footpath and the Kerb. I personally aren't happy with the recommendations for either of those, and what I'd like to suggest is we don't make any decisions on those today, but we resolve to have a workshop with staff in the first half of October to work through the prioritisation, because things like Beverley Terrace for the footpath, we've already made it quite clear that's not a priority of the board. But we need to also link it in with what's happening with the stormwater. So I'd like to have a workshop as early as possible in October with the board to work through Kerb, footpath and stormwater program so that we can nail it down and work on the priorities. Bruce, have you got any comment on that?
I think Ed's there.
So Ed's online. Ed might want to comment, and I totally understand if you guys want a workshop. I guess the challenge for me is that I'm working hard with my team to deliver, and sometimes we can't deliver, and I feel that burn from the board, which is fair enough. But the more we kind of push stuff out, the more we delay getting started on these things, especially with the delays from suppliers and contractors due to COVID. The more of a challenge it is to maintain a large number of projects in the green and deliver by the end of June next year. So I guess that's the only caution I'd throw in there, is that we're happy to take the guidance and direction from the board as the governors, but we're just, again, we've got to do what we can do to try and get over the line with these projects.
So I hear what you say, but I don't want to get on over the line by doing the wrong roads. And that's what will happen if we go with Beverley Terrace and Shorts.
I wouldn't like to see Martin Road though held up any longer. That would be great.
Well, the one outside the White Home.
Yes.
Well, we've already given the.
I know, but that's actually.
Bruce, we're happy to have a workshop tomorrow, so more haste.
Yeah, I'm going to be in the Thames. I'm going to be in the Thames Community Board tomorrow, but I like the intention to keep things moving forwards. Terry, Ed's got his hand up, so he might want to make a comment. Probably should hand over to him.
Through the board, no problem at all with having a workshop. Regarding Martin Road, I've already taken on the board's previous comments about prioritisation and given instructions for that to take place. So if the board is happy with that, we can continue with Martin Road and workshop the remainder.
Yeah,
that's perfect.
Yeah, we want the Martin Road.
And the other one also by the Williamson Park, the line up for the health and safety access for the footpath through the pedestrian crossing.
So that's a project,
Yes.
that's a separate project to what Ed's doing.
Yeah, separate.
Oh, so just while we've got you there, Ed or Bruce, about 3 meetings ago, it must be a good 12 weeks ago, we had a report suggesting that there be a stop or give way sign at the end of Hilton and the Drive. Just can't understand why something which should take about 10 minutes still hasn't been done 3 months later.
Don't know the reason on that one. Sorry, I don't know if Ed does. Yeah, I don't.
You had a separate report saying that there was a safety issue that we needed to stop people going out into the drive and having collisions. And we were asked to approve was it a stop or a give way sign?
A stop sign.
Yeah, and yeah. For a lick of paint and a sign, I would have thought that sort of thing should be done, it shouldn't take 3 months anyway.
If I may, through the board, my understanding was that the board was going to go away, review it, and give comment on whether it should be done or not.
No, we said yes to it. Anyway, I can look up the minutes and send them to you, but yeah, just those little things, when we sort of agreed to do them, we're not expecting them to take 3 months anyway. Okay, so...
Bruce, can I just ask a question? And before, when we discussed it, you were saying that it was approximately 20,000, well, as far as cost and that, nothing had went to tender unless it was 200,000, is that correct? For quotes?
Not sure I'm following you there, sorry Dave, what was that again?
For example, in relation to this footpath and that sort of stuff, with these jobs, when you look at the costing for these, it works out at about $573 a metre for 1,500 wide footpaths, which seems a heck of a lot of money. And when you were talking about tenders, you said that you don't tend to work under 200,000.
No, that's not correct. I'm not sure what I would have been talking about with that comment. Sorry, I can't recall the discussion. This must have been was this at one of the previous board meetings?
It was a previous meeting, yes.
Okay, we've got a procurement policy that we have to follow around how we procure services. So so under $20,000 you can go direct to one. Between 20 and 100 you should go to 3 contractors, and then over 100 you've got to go to the open market with your pricing unless you've got an exemption or apply for an exemption. Or you've got an existing contract in place that you're doing that work under. So I'm not sure if that helps with the answer or not. Ed might be able to provide a little bit more detail if you're querying the unit rate for footpaths.
It just concerns me the amount, you know, it limits how much we can do, obviously, with that. And I mean, you're looking at 573 a metre for footpath, and you're looking at 252, I think it was, for nib walling, which yeah, for nib curb, which seems a lot of money per metre, you know, for it. I know that, you know, there's traffic control costs and boxing and everything to be done as well, but you know, are we satisfied that we're getting the best bang for our bucks in relation to providing this for our residents?
Yeah, so Ed's a lot closer to that than I am, but obviously through that work, any work that's done through our maintenance contractor, those rates are tendered as part of a competitive process. Anything else that goes out to the market is a competitive process again, so we're making sure that we're getting the best price and the best overall delivery of those projects. But like I say, Ed might have something further to add to that.
No, actually, I don't. As Bruce says, the contract we have with Ventia did go out to tender and has been checked. The prices there are competitive. We also run checks against the prices we receive when we go out to tender for other works, and they do seem to be competitive for the area, for the type of work that we're undertaking. It's also the third line of checking. We do have to get everything checked, not every individual project, but costs are checked by Waka Kotahi as part of their audits, which are done on an annual basis, and they've never highlighted any issues.
Okay, well, I just flagged the fact that it does seem a terrible lot of money per metre for what we're getting.
Point made, we're getting less for more. Okay, well, what I'd like to do,
Sorry, can I just speak? So are we proposing that there's a workshop to discuss areas? Oof, what was that?
Sorry.
Well, what I'm going to move, Tamsin, is that we ask staff to organise a workshop with the board as soon as possible to agree on priorities for the current year.
Can I just suggest first, so it says that the current proposed works are highest priority from staff site inspections. Surely there's a report with those site inspections for us to then read the information and understand how the current works are prioritised, because I do support staff being the ones that decide on the areas. I think what we're after is just information about how that decision is made. And my second point is, I think there's a little bit of confusion between board members and generally about the purpose of nib curb. And so within this report, it says clearly that it has no effect on stormwater drainage and road drainage. So potentially, maybe if some information could be provided to the board about what nib curb actually achieves, that would be good.
Well, yeah, we've spoken before about this, Tamsin, but yeah, it's what it's doing is that the nib curb is included into the road contract. It's widening the road to a certain width, and the nib curb is just.
Well, no, this proposal doesn't include any allowance for road widening, unless I'm mistaken. But in the image which shows the difference between where there's nib and where there isn't, doesn't show road widening, and that's not included within the rate. So.
Well, it does include road widening. That's the whole idea of it, to widen the road to a certain width, and the nib curb is to protect the edge of the road. So we've got stormwater, no stormwater, we've got soakage around it. So the soakage will go under the road and destroy it from the outside in, and the nib curb is to protect that integrity of that road. So that was part of the deal, and to leave the road where there's no stormwater to be soakage around those particular areas, particularly where the non-resident ratepayers or people want to plant their vehicles and equipment on the berm.
But if we look at the construction detail, the nib is going to the existing road. There's no allowance for widening the road. So that's where I'm meaning. I think that there's a little bit of misunderstanding about what this project's achieving. But yeah, happy to hear Ed's thoughts.
Well, we need to discuss that with the staff, obviously, but that's the whole concept. And we've got drawings here from Opus and all that was put together as part of the nip curb explaining that. So if there's a change to that, it's changed that I'm unaware of.
If I may, through the chair, the sites that we've identified haven't any need for widening, which is why it's not included in the detail. Nib curbing can be used, and where the road is of substandard width, we would be looking to undertake widening at that time.
Okay, understand that, Tamsin?
I wasn't concerned about my understanding.
Okay, well, while I'd like to receive the staff background material as to how they receive the, or how they came with the priority list, I still think there is a role for the board to take in agreeing on which ones we go ahead with. So
do I.
I would like to move for the first item, well actually it'll be the same recommendation for both, that A, we receive the report, or one, we receive the report, and two, we decline the staff recommendations and instruct staff to organise a workshop with the board as soon as possible to agree on priorities for 21-22.
I'll second that.
Seconded by Dave.
Against.
Okay. Well, I haven't put it yet, Tamsin, so just hold on. So I'll do that first for the footpath construction. So I'll put that, all those in favour? Against?
Me.
Against, Tamsin against. Have that recorded, and do you want to have that recorded?
Yes.
Okay, and I'll move the same, seconded by Terry for the nip curb.
Yeah.
And I'll put that, all those in favour?
Aye.
Against? Okay, we'll pass, so those two have got the wording there, Esther?
Yeah.
Okay, so now we're moving on the information centre. Do we have Kirsten on board?
And see, Gary's got his up there.
Yes.
Gary, I thought Gary left.
Yeah, but he's put a thing, I support option one for them.
Right.
Okay,
Yeah, he's put a comment to say, Ken, I support option one for Whangamatā Information Centre. Gary.
Right.
oh, okay, sorry, thank you.
Yeah.
Did I say anything? Okay, so what was option one?
That's a digital.
It's good.
Okay, I'll open this up for discussion, so thank you, Kirsten. So anyone got any questions or comments?
Yes, I have. I can speak to this.
I'll get it through and
Yes, someone else is talking, sorry. Ask them to mute.
Somebody's coming online.
I think they're mute now.
They're mute now.
Yeah, so I'm really interested to, I understand there's been no interest, expression of interest currently for we've had the 3 months period from July, when the current funding of 50, is it 52,000 or 57? 52?
51.
$51,000 has been put up to run the information centre. I would very like to see a funding package come through that allows the full funding that has been expressed in the past of $80,000 for the community to run the information centre as base for this town, and relook that at the end of the financial year to see how effective that's been and whether that's a working model to look at or whether it's not a working model to consider. So that's where I fit with this. You've given us an option to get that funding through the retained earnings. I presume there's money available for that?
It would need to go to council.
It is council because it's part of, this is district funded, and somehow it never got the information discussed through the long-term plan because of how the meetings were run, but that's beside the point. So I'm in favour of that and would like to see how the board talks to it.
I agree.
Can we please get an update first as to how long the digital platform provider would take to be up and running?
Hi, Kirsten here. There is currently only one of these kiosks in the country that is ready to go now, and I believe somebody is looking at purchasing that currently. So there would be a wait to bring it in from overseas, and how long that wait is in the current situation, I don't know. I'm assuming within 3 months. I just want to update the board also. I've actually been on leave since last Thursday, but throughout my leave, I've been talking to a Whangamatā local who is interested in putting an expression of interest in for the information centre. So she has told me she will get something to me to look at by close of business today. So yeah, I just thought I'd better update you with where we're at with that. And I guess I can update you after I receive her expression of interest.
Kirsten, a question from me in terms of the numbers. So if people are talking about $80,000 being the cost to run the full year based on what they see as the need, but we're now into the end of September, so that 30,000 extra wouldn't be needed this year. And by the time any agreement's in place, it's probably another couple of months. So it's probably, in reality, you're talking about an extra 15,000 by the time, or 20,000 max by the time everything is in place. Would you agree with that assessment?
Yes, it would be, could be prorated.
Because we've done 5 months, haven't we?
Well, no, stage July. Yeah.
Can I ask when the people that are existing, well, presently in there, when they are finishing?
End of this month.
End of September.
Is it? I think, isn't it, Lorna? The end of this
30th of September.
Yeah.
So does that mean it'll close on that date until we?
Well, they've really finished now. And it's hardly open.
So what sounds there, Kirsten, on 30th of September, and as the door closed, or we get someone else on board?
No, the door is closed on the 30th of September.
Yeah.
And do we have any understanding of what this CUIK platform costs?
It's off the top of my head, there was going to be an attachment to your report, but I haven't received it through. But it's about $35,000, and then there's an option for council, or there is an option for somebody to be able to update it, like with promotions and specials and new businesses. Or there is an option for us to have a contract with Quick, and they would be the people that would update that information.
So you got $35,000 for somebody coming in to update it, is that right?
No, for the actual platform.
That's
For the platform.
Yeah. That's actually for the asset, Terry.
Yeah, it's still, I still talk about what people who came, 55,000 people used it last year, the information centre, when Kay was running it. And most of those people wanted to talk to a human. They would go outside, maybe use a digital device, but the idea was to come and communicate with somebody and get the direction of what's going on, with 90% of those people being non-resident ratepayers and family and friends, not overseas visitors. So there is still a need, we feel, for face-to-face.
How do we have the information that they wanted to talk to a human rather than gather information?
Yeah, the information from a human is very much about... But
how do we know that?
How do we know what?
That they needed that information from a human.
Well, why would they come in if they didn't?
Because they were seeking information.
So if they go on Google, why didn't they just do...
Why didn't they just do it on their phone?
Have you explored what this platform offers?
Oh, we've seen it before. It was offered before. Tamsin brought this to the table last year. Was it Tamsin?
No.
It was going to be tried in Christchurch, wasn't it?
Or Nelson. No, I think
one of them down the line. It was a trial they wanted to put somewhere else down around the country.
Nelson, wasn't it?
Nelson was
Nelson.
Nelson.
And it's now being used successfully. So doesn't that give us more reassurance that someone else has trialled it and it's a successful platform?
We're looking at the next year.
I think you need to ask the people in the town what they want. Not a digital platform is not what they want. So it's no use telling me that they're going to use digital platform. I'm telling you what they want, that's all.
And you speak for all of the residents and ratepayers within the town, do you?
Only 55,000, sorry.
How many are in town? Doesn't think it's quite that many.
Well, that's how many visitors they had. I'm not trying to make an effort out of this, Tamsin. I'm telling you what the town desires and what works. And what we're trying to do is get a model to give it a go to prove the point. And if I'm wrong, I'm happy to fall on my sword and say it's a failure. But at the moment, until we get it going and prove it, it still sits there waiting to have that opportunity.
I think there's very clear evidence that it doesn't work.
If we've got one, why?
No, you give me the evidence it doesn't work. I'm telling you it will work.
We know it can work.
I'm not interested in your opinion, Terry.
Obviously.
Okay, well, we're going around in circles here going nowhere.
I would like to see this next year that we continue with the funding that is put up. And then, okay, if it doesn't work, we explore the digital, but we need to be proactive and get that up and running because we can't have that shut with nothing there. I'm sorry, people do want to find out what's going on.
So Kirsten, if this late entry proved to be meeting the requirements of the expressions of interest, would we be able to enter into an agreement through to the 30th of June on a trial basis? And then if it failed, go to the kiosk idea then?
Yes. I can't see why that wouldn't work.
I would like to put that motion forward now. That would
So
see what happens.
how do we ensure that there's a mandate that we definitely transition to the kiosk if it is unsuccessful and they're not able to sustain it? Because I don't want to keep on having this conversation.
Look, I think if we do the funding model that works, and at the end of the year we do a review of that, and that decision will decide the next direction. So at the moment, it's very much about seeing this option, if it's viable, that we've promoted for the last few years. And if that fails, then we look at the other options, whatever they are. Maybe not digital, maybe whatever it is, but this is a trial to see if this particular option that works for town is successful. So that's what I'm asking.
So effectively, you're talking for something from the 1st of, well, when's our next board meeting? It's the first Tuesday in November, isn't it?
Yeah.
Surely there must be a way for us to do some sort of community consultation. I think obviously there's a disparity of what we believe around the table is needed, and it would be better to have evidence that's not anecdotal.
Through the chair, what concerns me is if they close the doors on the 30th of September and our next meeting is until the first week in November, what decisions are going to be made within that time?
But surely Kirsten can look at what has come in and make a decision, is it viable or not? Surely. I mean, she can send us an email. If we don't like it, then we say no.
I think David, you're right, the only thing we need to concern is that the funding package is suitable for the time left, pro rata. And if a group wants to stand up and take that on, it's any time, isn't it? Any time after the 30th, as long as that package is available.
So Kirsten, are you saying that if we want to use money from retained earnings, it's going to be signed off by council? Did I hear that?
That's correct.
Lorna, did you still have your hand up?
I've got a report going to the, I will have a report going to the council's meeting on the 26th of October. And sorry, and Lorna's had her hand up for a while.
Oh yeah, I was just going to say, Donna's also mentioned if we do pass a resolution, yes, it does have to go to council as an out of cycle. And in the interim, if there's only sort of 4 to 6 weeks where the info centre is closed before Labour weekend, it is still a very quiet time of year. We don't have a lot of people coming to the district in terms of visitors at the moment due to COVID. So the impact won't be significant and the amount of people coming through the doors.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, if it's closed for 4 to 6 weeks, that's 4 to 6 weeks funding that we can put towards trialling the new provider.
Yeah.
So it makes the need for additional funding even less.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, the funding will still sit there, won't it? We haven't used it, so we can.
Yeah.
So to sign off on October, we said the 1st of November as a start date,
Yeah.
and work out what the funding model is for that, and make that available.
Well, the staff can work out the numbers,
Yeah.
but so you're suggesting that we ask council to approve
A number,
retained earnings sufficient to operate with a new satisfactory operator from the 1st of November to the 30th of June, with the review to take place before the end of the financial year.
Or the February meeting, wouldn't it?
Well, I don't know.
We had
the financial year, as to whether to continue or to go to the kiosk. Something along those lines.
to review the operation, I think that's another decision about kiosk, but to review the operation.
But if we're going to, if it's not working, then we need to be a bit more proactive before the 30th of June, don't we? If we're going to go to digital.
Well, the digital operation sits outside the information centre, doesn't it?
I know, but it's still got to order it.
Yeah, I know, but then we've got to figure out what to do with the information centre and all that. So there's a few decisions to be made about the
Well, you
kiosk.
can't just have a building there with the digital on the outside and not being used, can you?
I just think we need to review it. At the end of the financial year.
Lorna has her hand up.
Lorna, I can't see your hand
So
up.
we could do some informal consultation with the community over summer about the actual information service and the proposition about a digital platform. And then we could also, discuss about sites, because that digital platform, you've got to remember, is a screen, and that could be in front of the council offices and the library, and then you may be able to use your the info centre site for something different.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I'm happy with that approach. I don't think we should. I think the opportunity to see what the community thinks is important, because I'm hearing a lot of anecdotal stuff. The views of the local community might be different from the business community, the residents, I mean, versus the businesses, and the visitors to town. That's another matter too. I haven't got a clue as to where everyone sits on that item, and I don't keep chasing good money into this if it's not really wanted.
Exactly.
I'm strongly supportive of us doing some community consultation.
Okay, so can we build that into the resolution too? This is making not a lot of sense, but.
No, so if we go back through the resolution, so part 1 is receives the Information Centre report.
Yeah, we'll go along with that. Yeah.
Authorises staff to investigate the digital platform to operate the Whangamatā Information Centre.
Not yet.
No, we'll put that one on hold.
3 will be request council to approve an out-of-cycle request for Whangamatā Community Board retained earnings to increase the funding available for the Whangamatā Information Centre by an extra 30,000.
No, it won't be 30,000.
Yeah, so that'll be the number from the 1st of November.
Yeah, by the amount required from the 1st of November.
Because it won't be 30 now.
For an annual $80,000 business order.
Because it'll only be for 7 months, and then we've had 6 weeks of savings, so it'll be a lot less than 30.
Laura's just got a comment about the consultation costs.
Yeah, that's all right. Donna's just asked if there's budget required, and Laura said no.
Okay, and we have another one in there, consultation with the community be undertaken.
In the new year.
So is that number 4?
It'll be number 4.
Number 4, so we change resolves no information service to what you were just saying.
Yeah, council undertakes appropriate consultation regarding the future of provision of information services.
It'd be actual staff to start undertake.
Yes, staff, yeah.
Sorry, can I please just hear 3 again?
So can you read the resolution back, Esther? Thanks.
So I've got it as request council to approve an out-of-cycle budget request for the Whangamatā Community Board's retained earnings to increase the funding available for the Whangamatā Information Centre by the amount required from the 1st of November. but that might miss a bit of the end there.
And we've removed per annum.
Yeah. Whatever the amount is on an 80,000 annual grant. That's the
But I just want to make sure that we've removed per annum, that it's a one-off.
Yeah, it's a one-off, yeah.
It's only till the 30th of June.
And we need to have another one in there saying that the whole situation is reviewed prior to the end of the financial year.
That'll be after the consultation.
Well, yeah.
So 5 will be,
The future provision of information services in Whangamatā be reviewed prior to the end of the financial year. And at that stage, we'll have had the trial with the new operator, we'll have the feedback from the community, and we can make a call at that stage.
Kirsten, can you ask me who the interested people are?
She's on mute.
Sorry?
She's on mute. Kirsten, are you still there?
Sorry, I was on the phone at the same time. The interested person, I think I'll probably just wait till they send in their expression of interest.
It's someone we know.
I don't want to scare them off.
It is.
Okay.
Okay, so I've had the expressions of somebody come and ask me too. Is it
Well, talk to them off. Talk to Kirsten offline.
offline? Okay, all right.
Okay, so does everyone understand what we've got here? Is the resolutions?
Yep.
They've been through it. So someone like to move those? Okay, seconded by Kerry. I'll put them as a group. All those in favour? Aye. Against? Carried. Thank you, Kirsten. Thank you, Lorna. And that brings us to reports. 6.
Action schedule.
Lost the place on the computer. Action schedule. Okay, anything people want to raise in the action schedule?
Yeah, the island view.
We're going to see.
Well,
We're going to see it. Can we leave it till we get to the field trip?
Yep.
Okay.
Interested in that.
Nothing people want to raise?
It's just the same old thing.
Okay, well, I will then move that the report be received. Seconded by Kate. All those in favour? Aye. Against? Carried. Okay, members' reports. Being a bit different in the COVID environment, but going around the table, Dave.
Attended the Whangamata ratepayers meeting a fortnight ago, and they are all happy. Basically, they were asking for an update in relation to the freedom camping reports, that they haven't heard anything, and they are concerned that something might not occur by Christmas with the frontage of the beach area there. And also they were saying about the rabbit and hare problem that they've got. I've told them to put in a RFS for that, but apparently they are in Whangamata the same as what they are in here. You see them on night shift when we're doing community patrol, they're just rented for that. So there's that. In relation to community patrol, up until recently they were renting the Scout garage down by the rugby area, and that's just changed, and we are now going to park the community patrol car at the police station, so it'll be contained within the police station. At the last meeting we were talking about having a visit to the police station in relation to seeing the cameras, how they work and everything, and I don't know if anything has been arranged for that, but I suggested it would be good, maybe the day we do the workshop, if we can make arrangements with the police to go and see exactly.
No, it'd be good to do. We won't do it today, but it'd be good to.
Well, it depends on COVID, doesn't it?
Police places that don't was.
And in relation to 101, there was a meeting which was set down for Wednesday 2 weeks ago, but obviously with COVID that didn't happen. But there is people coming over from Hamilton in relation to advice on funding available for that exercise as well. So that's being put on hold until we can.
You can go along as our liaison person and report back to that. Thank you. Tamsin, anything you'd like to report?
Just since the last meeting I attended the LGNZ conference and sat on the Future of Local Government panel. As a result of that, I've been asked to feed into the Future of Local Government panel review a few times, so grateful for that opportunity. My position on the National Council as part of their Governance to Development Programme has been extended at this stage until March next year. Currently located in National Park and returning to Whangamata in October.
Good. Look, like to see you back here. Kay.
I've just had several phone calls from residents who've got friends and family obviously coming in with caravans and motorhomes and concerned about no camping ground. And I said, I have not got a clue where you're going to be able to camp. Because we don't have anything.
Well, I understand that the camping ground is still going to be available for the next 18 months or 2 years. It's only the side.
Only the small part.
Well, there's only, when you drive in the driveway, everything to the right of it is going to be a construction site, but the left is going to remain.
No, it's only the front half.
Okay, well, I'll get a few in, but yeah, not a lot.
Not a lot, not the hundreds that they do. It is a concern though.
Yeah, no, there's Wingwood Valley, but that fills up fairly quickly, especially if they have things.
So that's why, you know, Island View really is pretty important.
Well, it's relatively small. Okay.
I know it's small, but it still can be 10 or 15 or 20 campers.
And also Lions have received their permit to do the parking for Beach Hop again for next year. That's been approved, so the parking down with
the croquet Menchy Lions. Yeah. I know it seemed to work well last year. More reports. Terry.
Just a couple of things. Sarah Halliday is the new Community Trust Manager. Keep you up to date with the changes there. Monique's moved on. And the other one that really was just showing around is the Three Waters. I don't know if you want to have an update, but there's been quite a lot of discussion about that. What's going on there? So
there's quite a bit on the council website too. So
yeah, you know what's going on.
Yep.
We've sent a 28-point discussion paper back to government, waiting for them to now respond to that. And then I think the discussion around opting and opting out will come after that. Just me.
Okay. Nothing particular from me apart from I've been on the radio a couple of times in the last month reporting on what's happening, but with COVID, not a lot is happening in town, but I did, as I mentioned earlier, I did tell the community the CCTV cameras would be there to offer security for windows and parks. So I'll look like I did it if they're not, so I could well be, but I hope not. Okay, so if there's nothing else, I call the meeting closed. So
we have to go to.
I'll move those reports.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, Terry, all those in favour? Aye. Aye. Yes, okay. Thanks for your attendance, Tamsin, and hope you can go and enjoy the scenery. Oh no, that's from the top behind you.
Thanks.
Okay, thanks, Tamsin.
Thanks.
Thanks, everyone. Bye. Okay, so we'll have a bit of a break before we go for our workshop.
Well, I'm just going to check what time's lunch. Just stopping recording, give me 2 minutes.